Freedom Reigns Radio Network is not responsible for the views and opinions of the guests or hosts of this show. The views and opinions expressed in this show are strictly the views and opinions of guests or hosts of this program.
Welcome all to the Country Living Show. That's right, it's still me, Doc. I'm here. This show is for everyone, from the novice to the expert. Hey, we can always learn new things, right? Well, if you're tired of the rhetoric, let me and my friends from down on the farm. Matter of fact, Ed's with us tonight. He's joined us over here in the chat room. I hope you guys have liked the way the new look is. If you haven't jumped in there yet, please jump on over to freedomreigns.us. Click on the top area. You'll see Listen and Chat. You can do it all on the same window now. It's looking really good. It's coming a long way. Anyway, we're going to learn all kinds of good things as we go along. And, of course, the law will always be touched on, but not the main focus. We're about homestead living and learning and how to truly be a free spirit. We've already got some activity going on in the chat room. John has joined us. Thank you for joining us here this evening. A bunch of anonymous guys, sign in. You know, if you sign in, then we can mention your name on air. We're so glad to have you here this evening. Ed's over there from down on the farm, so if you have any questions, please feel free to throw it up there, and he can point you in the right direction. He's been helping me out, and let me tell you, folks, my what started out to be a little tiny, let's grow some tomatoes or something, has turned into a mini farm over here at my place almost overnight. Ed's like, just keeps shaking his head at me. He's just biting off too much all at one time because it's all new to me, but that's all right. I like jumping in with both feet. I started out with 4 little rows that I have pure sand, so we had, of course, spent a lot of time augmenting our soil. So we did a lot of that. And, of course, Ed helped me every step of the way, and I got all that sand out of there, and I dug down and filled it all up with some really nice, rich, black topsoil. And we had 4 little rows there, 2 foot wide, and it's about probably 40 feet long. And that's how I started. Well, then the next thing you know, you'll figure it out, dear. I got people already trying to find their way around here on the new site. But once you figure it out, it's pretty easy. So I went from that, and then of course our good buddy Chris, and Pleased to Them, who joined me here every single week. They've been with me for many years along the way. Got me into this, watching this other movie. Now, Ed said he tried to get me to watch that movie almost a year ago, and somehow I must have dropped a link, or, you just forget how things kind of roll sometimes. You get so busy, a link goes by, or you bookmark it and forget all about it. So I went and checked out this movie. This is Back to Eden Project, and this gentleman, Paul, and he gave us a whole other type of process, another way of growing. And I said, okay, let me check that out. So the next day, of course, I thought about it overnight, and I was like, well, maybe I can do this, maybe I can't, just think about it. I like to, before I jump into anything, even though I jump in with both feet when I do, I like to think about it, sleep on it a little bit. Well, it's not really going to cost me anything. I already got like $200 into everything else that I've been doing. This here is just another way of doing, and it's really not going to cost me anything. What the heck, let's give it a shot. So the next thing I know, I start making phone calls. I called around, and I called up the newspaper company, seeing if I can get some old newspaper from them, because then you put down this newspaper first, and it acts as a weed blocker. Well, they were so nice and generous, they actually were able to donate, and I want to thank my local Star Banner for that. Over here in Ocala, they were able to donate to me for this project. The big, huge rolls they use on the printing presses. Sometimes they don't use up the whole entire roll, and those rolls, get tossed in a bin. So he was able to get me a couple of those, and we started out, and we didn't do anything to the land first. We didn't till it. We didn't add nothing. We just laid the paper right down over top of that. And then, of course, that same day, before I put the paper down, That same day I made the phone call, I called up a couple of tree service people with the wood chips. I said, oh, all right, and let me see if any of those people get back to me. It wasn't even an hour later, I had my local guy call me back. He said, look, I live right down the road from him, so it's on his way home. It's not out of his way when he's out there on job sites, and he goes, I can deliver you all you can handle. Wow, beautiful, great, thank you. Shoom. So that was being delivered to me. And the next thing you know, it's like, okay, well, I got my paper down. I got my wood chips down. I got a good 4-inch layer of 4 or 6 inches, depending on it, because I used it to actually level the whole area. And I laid all that out. Wasn't that hard, just a wheelbarrow, a rake, and a shovel is all I used for everything. Laid all that out. And then I was like, okay, well, now I need some manure because I can't plant in just the wood chips. So I need some sort of compost, since my compost, takes a good season before the wood chips begin to, break down and become plantable. And I'm, like I said, when I do something, I jump in. So I'm like, no, I got to go find me a compost place. So right away, I went on, got on the phone, and I was like, well, I don't know what to really do. And that same day, Mike from my tree service, airborne tree service right here in good old Summerfield, he come over to make a deliver to me, and he says, well, what are you trying to find? And I told him. So I says, I told him what I was looking for, and he's like, well, hell, I got this place that he drops off chips to, just a good place for him to drop off, and they turn it into compost. Really? He goes, yep, go on over there, tell them what you're doing, and talk to them. So I did. I shot right down over there. I brought my little tiny trailer with me, and I spoke to the manager, or may actually be the owner over there, Jim from Compost USA. And he said, no problem, glad to help me out. And came on back with my little trailer load of compost. I come out here and spread that over top of my chips and water it all down, let it all sit and settle in overnight. And next day ran out there and started my planting. Well, I got so much going on now, it's not funny. Just in my rows, to give you a little idea of what I have currently going. Now, that's 2 separate gardens. Well, of course, like I said, I start something. Then when we jump right into the into the next, which turned out to be, well, we need to do some herbs. So we sat there and, again, talking to Ed, and he's talking about different herbs and all, and I wanted to learn how to do canning, so I got looked up, and I'm learning all about pressure canning, and he's going to help me with all that. Sorry, give me 1 sec. Right? There, I was just answering something in the chat. Excuse me. So, I started getting all that. I converted my entire workshop in the backyard, and I'm starting to convert that into a cannery. I gotta get everybody's mic unmuted here on the board, since I've actually been monitoring the track. Okay, you guys are live there. Just hang on a second. So I said, okay, well, now we need to get going with some herbs. Well, of course, if you haven't figured out by now, I don't do nothing small. I told you about my little 4 rows. Well, that garden in the back I was telling you about with the wood chips manure, well, that happens to be 50 feet by 40 feet right now. That's a complete surface divided up into a full row, which is my 3 sisters. That's a combo plant. That's what they used to call it back in the colonist day. And that's what the Indians here taught our colonists how to grow, and that's our corn, our squash, and our pole beans. And I got that all in and growing, and that's in a, about a 2-foot section or so, row all the way down that 50-footer. Then I got 2 large patches, just leaving enough room for a walkway so I can harvest when the time comes. So I got 2 big, large patches, all black, and that's all seeded and rocking and rolling, and not counting, like I said, my little 4 rows. So I got those 3 sisters going. And then, of course, I got my tomatoes and some peppers, and I got cucumbers going all over the place. And out there, I got a couple of strawberry plants. I got watermelon and eggplant and cabbage going. I got carrots and celery and cauliflower and broccoli. Those are all in the ground, already started and growing. My tomatoes are growing like crazy. Matter of fact, there's a couple of them that might be ready to even be harvested by the next show. I got little tiny bell peppers popping up all over the place. And then, of course, this weekend, besides getting the rest of my herb garden in and all the different herbs set out, and I got to do a whole nother section. Now, that section I got pretty much wood chipped already. That's all ready to go. That's 6 foot wide by 30 feet long right now. But anyway, so that's 6 foot wide, and I got about 30 foot long right now going, and that's going to be where all the herbs and stuff going to be panning. And then, just for kickers, I got a whole other plot that's going to go in if this rain ever stops and we get to it. You know, sun comes out, so we got a couple more things. And we're going to get some more sweet peppers, an assortment of that going. And we got lettuce, and we got melon, we got cantaloupe. We got beets and radishes, and of course my son, he likes peppers, so we're doing a whole nother load of green peppers. And that's just to give you an idea on my small area, what I've been able to make room for and to get in the ground, and we'll just see what happens from there. Anyway, we got Jesse and Jose both on the line with us tonight. How you guys doing?
I'm doing good, and you, Doc?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic.
Sounds like it. How's it going, Jesse? Jess?
Oh, she's on the phone. She'll be right back.
Okay, well, no, I started myself into, like, a couple of large projects. I think they're large. I'm moving the side of a hill. Now, it's not a lot. It's just, like 8 feet wide by maybe 15. And that's where I'm going to put the main garden. Now, I've got a couple of other spots that are 3 by 8, I suppose, that I'm weeding. I've got one specific one that I'm removing everything but the pea gravel from, just so that it aerates, it gets rid of all the weeds, and at the same time gives me some really good high-quality topsoil to plant in. I want to see how much better it can get before, I get far into this. But it's looking really good. It's looking very promising. But this thing about moving the side of a hill, I forgot how much fun it is to cut through grass and rocks, with a mattox and a shovel and a wheelbarrow. So I'm having fun. I've got some peppers out there that I've started growing, and some tomatoes. No, not tomatoes. Peppers. Let's see here. Cucumbers, watermelon, I think, and something else. I'm thinking of also doing cantaloupes. So, and with any luck, I might even find a few pumpkin seeds strewn around somewhere here, and I'll get those going too and see how that turns out. I don't know. So far, this is just a big experiment for me this year, and I've started so late. It's unbelievable. This should have really been started here, like in the middle of March, because the growing season is so stunted, mainly because of the cold season. It's long. But last year's summer lasted into almost January. So if it does the same thing this year, hey, I might get a couple more months of growing season out of this. And never mind the cold type of a deal. This is. I'm starting to get my right shoulder back into place. It feels like I disconnected it somehow, and then popped it back in, but it didn't quite pop back in. But using the shovel and the mattox is starting to help. It really is.
Yeah, that's the beauty about it. I mean, anybody who's ever heard my show before know that I'm not in the best of health as far as, my back and what I'm able to do labor-wise. And I tell you, I got out there and started playing in the soil, and, that tiller is heavy cutting them rows, and it was going crazy. and it's like I thought anytime I ever do anything else, I used to be bedridden for the next day. I couldn't get moved, couldn't get out of bed. But getting out there and getting back to nature and working with the soil and just all the stuff that's going on with the garden, I wake up feeling great. I didn't have to take that day off. I was able to get back out there and do some more work. Now, of course, I couldn't go out there and do like 8, 9, 10-hour days out there in the sun and the labor with the wheelbarrow and all. It's not very labor intensive because it's chips are super light. They weigh next to nothing. Everything is very lightweight, but it's still the repetitive motion of, filling up the wheelbarrow from the wood chip pile, then bringing the barrel over and dumping it and raking it out. And, so it's just time consuming and not overly labor intensive, if you will. But yeah, it's it takes me a little bit to get back in there, but I definitely know what you mean by you just felt better being out there. It's great. Ed from down on the farm there, he's already asking. Please ask him a question in the chats, guys. He's not called in with us tonight, but if you have any questions or anything on your mind, please go ahead and drop it in there, and we'll talk about it on air and get you and get that out there. He's asking if anybody's doing okra, and I just gave you that whole list of what I got going on already. So I said, no, now you're giving me something else I got to go plant. Tell me all about it, right? So here's a little secret. Take your seeds and roll over them with a rolling pin. It breaks the shell that holds the seed inside.
Yes, it does.
So, hey, this is stuff I've never learned before. All these great tricks. I've never really grown anything in my life other than a couple of tomatoes and some peppers, and that was a million years ago. When I was a kid, I grew up on farms, but I grew up on horse farms and things like that. I didn't, grow up on the crops, okay? So it's a little bit more trickier. Yeah, I'm taking notes as we go.
Well,
so this is something new. When you're growing the okra, before you pick it, wear a long sleeve shirt. It's like insulation, okay? And what exactly do you do? I've never used it as a spice. Is it something like an herb that you would sit there and add to different dishes and stews and stuff? That this is all new to me, folks. Ed from down on the farm, we love you. We can't thank you enough. I can't thank you enough. I mean, you've been with me almost on a daily basis in the Skype room and talking me through this. I mean, he's teaching me about farming, and I got things growing like crazy. I'm learning canning. I'm learning cooking recipes. I'm using stuff I've never used before in my entire life. I'm like most other people. Kick back the bowl of pasta. Once in a while throw some meat on the grill, that's about the extent of my cooking knowledge.
Can I say something?
Absolutely, yeah. Dear.
How you doing, Jess?
Hi, I'm doing fine. I'm sorry. I was on the phone with my attorney when you called. When you said hi, my attorney called, so it was like totally bad timing. What I wanted to say was, with the promotion at work that I got, I cleaned the rest areas out in my neck of the woods now. And so because of that, I am near farmland because, where I live, it's pretty much nothing but farmland. And so to everybody out there, just not only will it make yourself feel good, but it will make them feel good. Do what I did last week and go thank a farmer. I had to sit there and wave my arms to get his attention, but he came over and he wanted to know what was going on, and I told him that I thanked him and all the other farmers that are out here because of all the hard work they do. I see them busting their asses day in and day out to feed me, and I appreciate it very much. So it's nice to go out and thank a farmer.
Amen, sister. Yeah, absolutely. They don't get enough praise. I mean, they get it from both ends. They're getting it from their, they're doing commercial grade farming. They got to follow this other crap. They got, these corporations breathing down their back. You got the government breathing down their back. They're getting raked over their coals everywhere you go. I mean, it's just, they really have zero respect for our farmers, folks, and that has to come from us. We need to, reach out. If you can get out there, if you can get out there, if you're close by, do everything you can to buy locally. Get to, get out there, get to the, the local farmers. Find out what they're growing. Even if they don't sell to the public, see if you can make a deal with them, or find out who do they do supply to. Find a local market. I mean, I'm great because I live right down the road from one of the largest farm markets over here in Marion County, Florida. If not probably one of the largest in Florida, but very large market. And I can get you about anything in the world, and they get supplies from all over the state of Florida, so it's great. And yes, that's Malone Lab there in the chat room, folks, if you have not met him before. He was on air with us about a month ago, and it was all about tomatoes. We did an entire show on nothing but tomatoes, and we barely scratched the surface. I didn't realize how many different varieties there are, what's involved. It just, the list goes on and on. He could actually do a show, probably a whole year just on tomatoes from what I gathered with him.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, so if there's anything you guys need question-wise when it comes to growing, that's the man to ask. Whenever he's around, we try to take full advantage of him. He can't spend all his time with us. We only have him for about another half hour tonight, so please, please, please start throwing those questions out there. Ed grows everything and anything you could think of. If he's not currently growing, he's got family members that grow it, so on and so forth. So it's amazing how much is the knowledge that he has, multiple generations. So it's great. Yeah, I'm sorry. I spend hours a day with him in the chat and whatnot. I don't tell him what the topic is for tonight or anything else. I just kind of wing it.
And Doc.
Yeah.
If I may say, once you start getting into your peppers, the hotter you want your peppers, I mean, you can have them, of course you're going to have your jalapenos at regular heat, but if you want them hotter, you go out and you find yourself some chicken manure and just, make little rings around your pepper plants. And you'll get yourself some really interesting heat. And I'm talking.
Don't. Ed was telling me about that, and Ed was telling me about that. Where the 1 year, I mean, you can put all kinds of things. You can put garlic. Another secret there he let me in on. I'm letting out your secret there. Look out. But just like you said, you can put peppers close by to your tomatoes, and it'll pick up that flavor. If you do that, be very, very careful. The 1 year he was telling me he put, I guess it was one of the Thai peppers on a super, super hot pepper, and it was a little bit too close, and they had made to other crops, and it absorbed all that heat that when they made a meal, it literally destroyed the meal. So be very, very careful. If you're going to do that, you really want your hot peppers, unless you want your other products around it to absorb that heat, a good 6 feet away. What I did with mine, because I got a treat this year when they found out I was doing this. My wife was talking to one of her girlfriends at work, and she comes from Trinidad, and she was going back for a visit. She was going back for a visit. Hi, Chris. Glad you could pop in a couple of minutes late, but hey, we're always glad to see you, brother. Anyway, she says, I'm going to bring you back a surprise, and she did. She brought me back an envelope, and it's covered with the Trinidad Scorpion Mango, I think is the proper name for it. Anyway, it's the newest classified hottest pepper on the planet.
Yeah, Scorpion for short.
Yeah, so I got me some of those seeds, and of course what I do, I didn't put them in my garden. I don't need anybody else getting that stuff. I did it in a pot, though, so I have I put 3 of the seeds in a big pot for right now to see what's going to take, if it's going to take, and we'll see what happens from there, what I get from it. But, yeah, so I got those, but I did it the safe way. I'm doing it in a pot so I don't contaminate anything else out there.
wish I had a couple of those seeds. I would.
But if the peppers start coming in, because she only gave me a couple. I do have a couple, but it probably wouldn't be worth trying to rewrap them and get them in an envelope to you, Jose. But I promise you and all our listeners, hey, pay it forward, share with everyone else. If I get a crop out of this and they start growing, let me know, and I will box up a whole pepper for you so you can seed it yourself. This way you got the fresh pepper right off the plant, so you can even not only have the pepper to eat, you can seed it to do your own planting right from there.
Right on.
So, I got you guys all in mind there, not a problem. I just got to wait for them to grow.
Yeah, this year I'm doing cayenne and jalapenos, and I'm looking to see if I can find some habanero seeds that I hid away last year. I can't find them. Oh my God, the habaneros are going to be stunted. They'll be tiny little things. Last year I was growing some. They were about the size of a strawberry, maybe a little bit larger, at ripening. And the habaneros that I grew last year, well, I didn't have chickens, but we had cats all over the yard, so I used their manure. Just spread it out on top of the dirt, not put it in the dirt, but around the plants. And those were definitely the absolute hottest chili I've ever had in my entire life.
Wow. There you go.
No kidding. They were awesome.
Do with what you have. And that's what it's all about, right? Yeah, you didn't have the manure. You don't have the money to go. This isn't about money, folks. That's the beauty about it. Once you get started, get the right seed and products to begin with. That's why I spend so much time with that, especially when it comes to tomatoes, because that is his family's main growing passion there. How many different varieties are out there, Ed? I think there's 140 different kinds of varieties of tomato. I didn't know such a thing. I know like 3 tomatoes. Come on.
Right. Oh, Doc, you've got to have yourself some fried green tomatoes. Those are awesome. And another thing that my aunt used to, I got the fried green tomatoes from the wife, but one thing that my aunts used to do when I was a kid is, they'd send me out there to pick a few cucumbers. Usually it wasn't anything more than 2 because of the size of them. We'd peel them and fry them and eat them straight like that. Wonderful. But yeah, there's a lot you can do out, your own farming thing. If anybody out there drinks coffee, let's say you buy coffee by this large thing, something about a pound and a half, 2 pounds or something like that. You can save the plastic containers that the coffee comes in. Just save the container with the lid. Go out, collect your. If you're living in an apartment, go out, take your container, collect some topsoil from, a ditch somewhere. Usually in the ditches, you get yourself the best topsoil. And like I said, you take a little screen, you screen it out, get rid of everything except the pea gravel that's in it, and you got yourself your automatic pots for your plants, You don't have to go out and buy pots. It's just... But then, where I grew up, we didn't have that word recycle. We just made do with what we had. You got anything to add, Jesse? Doc?
Oh, I'm here. I'm actually working in a couple of chat rooms. Ed's listening to a show, but he's listening to actually last week's show. He's wondering, he was getting confused, didn't know what was happening. He's actually somehow, when he clicked the play button on the new website, he's actually listening to a rebroadcast from last week and not tonight's show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I don't know how that happened. I think what he did is he clicked on Community and the Constitution instead of refresh the page and then click play. and see how that works. I'm not sure what player you guys clicked on. Maybe it's the big icon with the big mic and the big blue, white and blue arrow there. So maybe that's it. Oh, John's saying that's his fault. It's the wrong code. Okay. So I guess what you have to do is you would have to... Oh, okay. John's our developer. I didn't even know that. Okay. Let me tell him in chat there to turn it on through BTR, not the site. It's the wrong code. No problem, John. We'll get it figured out.
Yeah, things are just... We've turned into farmers. We don't do the tech thing anymore.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. John, nice to meet you. I was going to say, I wonder when we picked up a new listener there. That's great, man. I can't thank you enough. I mean, the site is absolutely gorgeous. We're loving all the work that you put into it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't say that I've probably been more prouder of the layout of Freedom Reigns. And I've been with Freedom Reigns since the beginning, folks. We've been here over almost 5 years this month. I think it's our 5th year anniversary. Wow, time flies. Thumbs up. Kudos to you. It is looking absolutely fantastic. Ed hopefully is working on his problem there. I told me in his chat, I Skyped him and told me I had to go and open the regular window on Blog Talk Radio and get in that way. Hopefully he'll be able to hear us and join us shortly, because he's listening to last week's show. Let's see, he's typing to me now. Maybe now he's got it figured out. I wonder why he keeps telling me in Skype, well, I'm here. How come you guys aren't, asking me the questions? And all along we have been. Just sadly, he's been... Yes, that's it. He also got confused because I set it up as the Country Living Show. And we're no longer using the headliner of community and the Constitution. Of course, it's always about community, and that's what Country Living is all about, folks. The constitutional stuff, the law stuff that we do talk about here, hey, we cover those topics as well, because it's all part about learning freedom.
Well, if somebody wants to ask a question about it, yeah, if you're really needing a solid, specific answer right now, yeah, we can help. But it's like Doc said, about a month ago, he said, the point is that the wintertime is gone, and now comes the planting season. And this is much more important currently, because if a person really needs the data and information on the law, you can always go back and listen to the shows that we have pre-recorded. I mean, there's at least 2 or 3 different sessions of law that we've covered, and if you get all of them, and if you can find them all, you'll be pretty well covered. I mean, we've covered all the bases. But these shows are definitely about community. This is about you coming together with your family, you coming together with your friends, your neighbors, and people you don't know down the road and stuff like that. Because if you know how to grow food, people will come to you for advice. People will look to you, and they are going to be asking you a lot of very important questions, and these questions will be coming at you within the next couple of years. And if you guys have listened to the previous shows, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. If you just go to my page under our team, that's your introductory there to the Constitution. That's all you really need to know, folks. The rest, or get yourself a copy of the TRA, and boom, you're good to go. You don't need us talking to you blue in the face. We're here if you have trouble or have questions, but hey, like Ed always says, nothing brings people together better than food. Okay?
That's a fact.
And whether it's around the dinner table, a barbecue, block parties, we've talked about this in the past. You get out there and, you just talk to one neighbor or 2 neighbors, and they'll talk to their 2 neighbors. And the next thing you know, hey, It's a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Let's all drag the grills down to the bottom of the driveway there, pull out a bunch of chairs. The kids can all play together. They shoot baskets, throw a football, whatever the kids do. You know how they just all play together anyway. The adults can sit around. Everybody kind of a potluck deal. The grill is there. We'll throw out some burgers, some hot dogs, you know. Somebody else brings salad, another person brings chips, and the next thing you know, you got, 30, 40 people all gathered around, and all because of food, and because you took the first step. For some reason, back in my day growing up, this was just like a given. Everybody did this. For some reason, somehow, we've gotten so distracted in our lives, we've forgotten the basics. We've forgotten the simplicity of getting back to nature, getting back to growing, getting our hands dirty and in the soil, becoming one with everything, not just the stuff around us provided by nature, but with our neighbors and our friends and our families, and the list just goes on and on and on.
Materialism.
We just got so far away from it, and with everybody in financial straits right now, the economy the way it is, the price of food, I'm sure many of you are suffering sticker shock right now. It's just astronomical. That's when finally got me off my butt, was about a little over just a month ago. I had gone shopping, and we do our shopping. We try to do our big shopping once a month. And when I used to be able to walk out of there with, 2 grocery carts full of goodies for the month to, take home and repackage and freeze and, separate and all that good stuff, I walked out of there with not even a full cartload. And I'm like, oh, this ain't going to happen. This ain't going to work for the same price. I'm on a budget, so I can't go by how much I put in my cart. I got to go by how much, is in my budget so I can make sure I pay the mortgage and keep the lights on. And I was just like, I don't know how we're going to do it. It's going to be back to, pastas that, all living off of pasta and pasta sauce and whatnot, and which ain't bad. Hey, I'm an Italian, so I can eat pasta every day, but, after a while it gets boring, plus it puts on a couple of pounds. Just in the last month, working in the garden, working outside, getting, back on my feet and moving, I've actually dropped the whole pant size. And I tell you, it feels great. The only thing it doesn't feel great about it is I haven't gone out shopping yet, and I got my belt pulled up so tight to keep my pants on now. Otherwise, they just keep falling off. The pants gets all crumbled up, crinkled up. So I got to keep straightening it out. But hey, that's a good thing. Thumbs up, So it's just doing so much for my health. I've never had so much energy before. I've not been able to, do any kind of real physical activity in a long time. And this, it's slow going. I can work at my own pace. I just do what I need to do. When I'm a little tired and just want to, I have this hunger that I need to get outside. I ain't been outside in 2 days because of the rain. Now, of course, today it's been raining all day. Yesterday wasn't bad. It was actually a sunny day. It wasn't really raining, but I decided I was going to take that day off because I knew I had all this work coming up for this rest of these seeds I want to get in the ground. And that was my plan for today. Sadly, I got up at 5 o'clock this morning. Real farmer now. I'm up and ready to go at 5 o'clock in the morning to jump out the door. Yes, I am OCD. So I said, nope. I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Next thing I know, I look outside, and it was pouring. And it still hasn't. It stopped for a couple of minutes. I was getting ready to go out and say, okay, cool, I can get out there and get some work done. I walk out the door. I didn't even get halfway across my driveway. Boom, here comes the rain again. So today was a total wash, and now I'm sitting here scratching my hands and rubbing my hands together, and I'm looking out my window out there at my garden, and I'm like, I want to get out there. I got to do something. It's like this monster that's created. I need to get out there. So even if I'm a little sore, a little tired, whatever, I go out there and I got a little regular cinder block, and I just sit down on that cinder block and I just weed my garden. I just sit there. It's not hard work. Just sit there and talk to my plants, watch them grow. Sit there on my little cinder block and pull out weeds. And I just feel so much better. All that anxiety disappears. All that stress is just gone. And there I am, it reminds me, one of my favorite artists I used to love watching years ago was Bob Ross, the happy painter. And I actually did take a couple of his lessons. I do paint as well from time to time, and I do wet-on-wet technique, the technique he teaches. And, how he's always sitting there, and, you're in your own world there, and, a happy little bush, he lives over here. If you've ever seen the show, you know what I'm talking about. And I kind of get out there in the garden. I ain't out there but maybe about 3-4 minutes, and all of a sudden that's the type of mode I go in. It's like, here I am in my happy little garden, and, a little pruning here, a little bit of weeding there. Let's put this seed here. And I just find myself talking to myself and talking to the plants. It's just wonderful. It literally is. It's just amazing. What it's done for me personally. I just can't talk about it enough, and I can't thank Ed enough. I mean, if it wasn't for him, I'd still be sitting here fiddling my thumbs, crying about my aches and pains, and looking out my window at the world, wondering what the hell I'm gonna do. So. Yeah, it's just phenomenal. The change that's come over me just in the last couple of months since I've been doing this, the activity I've been out there, meeting more of the neighbors. Not that I didn't already know my neighbors. And, this is just a little bit more knowing my neighbors, Jolly Green Doc. There you go. I like that, Jose. I'm pausing people because I'm watching the chat at the same time here and checking the board, making sure we don't have any callers. As always, folks, please, if you ever have any questions or comment, our lines are always open at 714-868-0749. And if you can join us in the chat, please do so. You can go to the freedomreigns.us site, and that'll automatically bring you to the new one, which is, then, of course, you want to bookmark the new site, and that is all one word, springintoaction.us. That's the new site. Lots of exciting things happening around here. John, he's joined us here in the chat. He's actually our web designer. That's it. I knew I was thinking the name of what you do, John. I knew there was something that it was called. I can't remember the word. I got so excited. Ed's on with us tonight, and I just get a little giddy. I mean, poor Ed. I've monopolized this gentleman's life. He's been so good and kind and patient with me. He truly is a close friend. I consider him my brother. I love you to death, man. We spend every chance we get in chat talking away. Our wives are just probably walking by, shaking her head. Oh, talking to Ed again. I'm like, Christy's probably doing the same thing, walking by. Oh, talking to Dave again. So, our wives probably hate us at this moment. But I'm loving it. I am learning so much, and I try to bring that information to you guys when we can. And, of course, when we get Ed to join us, it's that much extra special. So please, if you have the questions on anything you're doing, from augmenting your soil, tilling your soil, what kind of fertilizers, what grows best in your area depending on climate, canning, recipes, the tricks to the trade, the man is here. Pick his brain. I mean, I do. Around the clock, I do. So anytime he's home, I'm always here at the house. So it's my computer is never far away from me when it comes to that. And the second I see him on there, boom, I'm gonna bug him so much he's gonna disconnect me and block me from Skype one of these days. He's like, I do have a life and a farm I gotta take care of, and I'm like, no, you need to take care of me. But no, it's great things. I see so many people are talking about the green tomatoes in the chat room here tonight. If you haven't tried them or you're not really a big fan of them, the question always comes back, well, have you ever grown and picked your own? Remember, nothing you could ever buy, all right, in any kind of store, and even if it comes from a commercial farmer, they all use chemicals and pesticides and all that, unless you get the true organic farm and organic growers. But nothing's better than going out there and grabbing it fresh off the vine. Comes, you grew it, you planted it, you tilled it. It's all about you. You put your love into it. And I'm watching the chat. To go out there and just be able to pick something from there and then do something with that product. It's a difference between night and day. You will taste the difference. There's no doubt about it. I've just forgotten about it because I haven't grown in so many years. But we had a garden when I was a kid. My aunts and uncles had a small garden, and we get together in the summertime. And it was our salads that we'd make. Now it's an Italian family there. We're always making all kinds of different cold salads, especially from beets and onions with vinegar and Italian dressings and tomatoes, all different different ways. And I just miss it, and I didn't. Kind of forgot what I had missed and where I had strayed so far, if you will. To me, it's all just getting back to what I was always meant to be doing in the first place, and that's the best thing, to be honest. Just to sit there and watch it, and of course. Being OCD with my rows and everything I do, even my game apps that I play, my wife sits there and says, your OCD's showing. I'm like, shut up. but anyway, boy, am I in a giddy mood today or what? It
sure sounds like it.
Yeah, it's just, I'm so excited, and that's what it is. It's just the excitement and the passion you hear coming out of me. And I just look out that window, and every time I go out there to the garden, I find a new tomato growing, or a new pepper. And I've had a tomato I've been watching for a while. He was my first one. He's the one I got marked that I'm going to harvest the seeds from. And he was the only one all by himself. He was the first one to show up, and he's already the size of my fist. Okay, so it's just every time I go out there, found another one hidden underneath a branch here, and my daughter, I'm out there all the time, and of course my daughter's like, well, I don't see but one little strawberry because we got the strawberry plants going, and my wife told her, well, that's because there's a whole bunch of them out there. My daughter's looking, she's only in 3rd grade, and she's looking and says, well, I don't see anything. She goes, well, that's because you didn't lift the leaves up, and she goes and lifts the leaves up for her, and my daughter's eyes just lit up. Because you see all these strawberries, coming up underneath the red, and they look great, but they're still tiny. So let them grow up a little bit more. We don't want to be picking them yet. Besides, that's my secret. I go out there when I'm out there. That's my plan, sitting out there when I'm weeding my garden. I got my strawberry plants right there, so I just kind of pick on my snack of strawberries as I'm weeding my garden. That's why you don't see too many strawberries on the vine right now. I'm too busy eating them as I'm gardening. But anyway, good times. Can't wait, Jose. I'm so excited for you getting that going and getting that started. When you start seeing all that coming up, and hopefully you'll start expanding out. Next thing you know, you'll have a million different things in the ground like I do. Being my first year and being down here in Florida, it's so hard to determine your crops down here if it isn't a citrus fruit kind of a crop. Because we pretty much have warm weather all year round. We get a couple of cold spells now and then, and we have to worry about the winds and the hurricanes, of course. But our soil is pretty much sand and, lime rock, if you will, and clay. So you just got to be careful where you're at. You either go from one extreme to the other. So you really got to, pick care of your soil and see what you're doing there. And also down here, I've talked to many people who've been farming here for 30 years, and they're like, you just can't tell one year from the next. This year, X, Y, and Z will grow phenomenally. The same product next year, don't get squat. And something else will be doing real good. But it's just because of the climate. It's not that they're not nourished correctly or rotating their crops. It's none of those factors are involved in here. It's just because of our crazy weather that we have. And it's just, like I said, one year, one thing will do great. Next year, something else will be doing great. So that's why I got all these different things thrown out in my garden. And Heck, if I just get half of what I got out there going right now, I've got enough food to, that I'll be able to can and doing everything that's,
Hey,
that
Doc?
I can do and have enough for a year. Yeah, go ahead.
Just out of curiosity, how often do you mow your lawn?
What lawn?
Okay.
It's a garden now.
No, I was going to say, you take your lawn clippings, and you can either refertilize your lawn with them, or you can take your lawn clippings and throw them into a pile, make mulch, and, food for your plants, or you can just put it straight into the ground or over the ground or around your plants, and that way you won't have like the other worst weeds always growing, and it makes weeding a little bit less difficult.
Oh yeah. Well, my weeding actually isn't bad because I got pure topsoil, so it was just really the first time that everything started to come up, all the weeds came up. After I weeded it the first time, that area, I've not really had to go back over it.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's been great. It's just like really a one-time thing for me so far, and just maybe once in a while you get one or two here or there within the row. But because Ed talked me through, and I followed everything, boom, right to the letter exactly. Did exactly what he told me to do. So yeah, other than that first big grow up of weeds that I had, that just came up with everything else, and because I don't. I'm new to this, so when I see a new plant growing, I don't know the difference between a plant and a weed, so I have to let it grow a little bit bigger until I know, okay, that's the plant part and that's the weed. So that's why I had to wait for him to get a little bit bigger than probably the regular, everyday person who would do this, would know right off the bat, that's not, that's a weed, that's not your plant.
Doc, I've got a simple little way for you to be able to tell exactly where your plant is. Take yourself one of these gallon jugs, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, all the way around it, you're going to have one area that's just pretty much slick. What you do is symmetrical is, I think, the word I'm looking for.
Right.
Okay, now you've got yourself this big round band. Cut it and make little strips that, and you make little rings. Wherever you put a plant, put the little ring. Everything that's not inside the ring, you get rid of.
Oh, there you go. That'll work. That'll work. I like that idea. Yep, yeah, definitely. Well, my big patches now, that wouldn't help me, because my big patches, what I did, I'm starting to learn about combo plants. I told you about the three sisters, the corn, the squash, and the pole bean, how they go together. So I'm learning about other, what they call combo plants and patches. And, of course, Ed, he's like, okay, well, I said, well, what else goes together? Because I got watermelon and stuff going, too, and I got my cantaloupes going, and so my cucumbers go great with melons, if I remember right. So I was like, okay. So my one patch, what I did is basically, this is the one time I didn't do totally OCD and make all my measurements with my seeds, and I got my ruler out there. You should have seen me. It's hysterical. But I'm sitting there with my 15-inch wooden ruler from back in the day, and that's what I'm using. I'm measuring out, and I'm putting my finger in. Okay, first knuckle's a 1/4 inch, and I'm putting all my seed. Yeah. So, yeah, really OCD, big bad time. So I'm sitting there and I'm doing all that, and I'm like, you know what? So I took this one patch. I said, this is a good combo plant area. And I had this patch open, all ready to be seeded, but I didn't have nothing really going in. So I decided to take all my extra seeds. And I went in there, and I went into my little toolbox I had with all my seed stuff. And I said, all right, let me grab all my extra seed stuff. And I knew, all right, so I took all my melons, my watermelon. Now, of course, I got my cantaloupe I got to throw out there yet. And my the leftover seeds that I didn't plant from the cucumbers that I had. And I did line up my cucumbers around the edge because those, didn't want to have to, crush my watermelons trying to get to those. And I just took the rest of the seeds that I had, and I just kind of flung them all over the place, all over the batch. You'd be real proud. It's the first time I broke out of OCD. So I just took a handful of seeds and just kind of sprinkled them, just throw them everywhere, all over. So, okay, whatever goes, goes. And I took a rake and I just, because what I did is I had a little hill all the way around the big patch, and I just kind of pulled the top of the hill down over top of the seeds and figured, okay, whatever happens, happens. And then I'm like, okay, well, I like that idea. So I go over to the other side, to my other big patch I had. So, well, what other seeds do I have? And I took all my other seeds that I had, except for the corn and the pole beans. That's the only two. But anything else I had laying around that were, a couple of seeds left in this pack, a couple of seeds left in that pack. I just took them all. I kind of shook them all up, and I said, that's it. And I threw them all over this big, huge patch out there. So again, I just gonna let it go haywire and see what happens. God only knows, right? So yeah, I'll probably have the most hysterical looking garden this year if it all comes up. Like, this is wrapped in with this, and this is wrapped around that, and God only knows what anything's gonna happen. But hey, you only live once. I figure, what the hell? Let me just get rid of the seeds, because I know I'm going to be harvesting my seeds this year. So let me get rid of what I had packaged and just threw them all out there. And then tomorrow, of course, I got all these other ones that I listed earlier at the beginning of the show that I'll be out there and cleaning out that other row where I had that I originally was going to reserve for my potatoes, but didn't get my potatoes done this year. And I'm going to hold off on those till next. So I got 15 feet in one row, and then a whole other row on the soiled side, not where all my beets and my, that kind of stuff, in-ground stuff, the root things, my beet crops and my radishes and a couple of those things, they'll all go out there. And then another big patch that I'll be making tomorrow, if the rain holds up. The rain finally stopped, gang. If I can get going on that third, fourth, fifth, sixth area patch that I have now, whatever that is that I have, when I get done with that area, that's going to be the rest of this stuff that I picked up today. And, of course, that'll have to be a little bit more OCD, though, of course. But, yeah, I'm going to just take the cantaloupe seeds that I got and just throw them right out there where the watermelon and the cucumbers are, just to see what takes off. I just throw them all out there in that patch and just cover them over a little bit with some of the compost and see what happens. Just let it go. My compost area and all that stuff I was doing, little weed. I have no weed, actually, but I do have some grass that has popped through in a couple of spots, which was like, I never really had a good lawn. Now all of a sudden I got grass growing. Like, shit, I don't want the grass. I'm trying to get rid of my grass now. But you were asking about the lawn. Yeah, I do that. All the clippings, and I always have all the years. Even when I didn't have a garden. I always gathered all those grass clippings up, and we pulled up pull up roots and all that kind of stuff on any kind of heavy weed or anything that's in the lawn. And we take that and we throw it in a wheelbarrow and we bring it into the back, and we got a spot in the back that we kind of just load up the big pile. And when that pile gets big enough, it's going to be green, because I don't mow my lawn that often. What I do is I let it grow and just let it grow when I had the lawn, and then I'd finally go in there and cut it. So I'd have a really good amount once I did. And I would take that and let it dry out in in our little spot where we dump it all. And, of course, I wasn't gardening at the time, so I wasn't worried about composting it or using it like you were just referring to. I just take that big, huge pile, and then I just burn it. I just light it on fire and let it burn it. In 3 seconds it would all be burnt up and burnt down into, a much smaller pile. And I just raked that around and left it there. And then next time, same thing, drop it right on that, same spot. Well, now, of course, that spot is gone. And now I'm gardening and growing, so, now all that is going in a separate pile, and it's getting mixed in with my wood chips. Once it dries out, of course, so I know it's dead and it's not going to go reseeding my weeds or grass or anything else. I use that, and I mix that. I'll be mixing that in with my wood chips and let that all heat up. I got big, huge truckload piles of wood chips out in my yard that are all together there, so they get nice and hot and are breaking down nice. And when I do my shoveling, when I do that, I don't go from the top of the pile. I go from the bottom of the pile, so it's got all that pressure on it. It's got all that heat that's trapped under there that helps break it all down and making it into a really nice compost. So that's what I've been using. That's what I've been doing. What have you all been doing? Jesse, did you ever get that to work out there on the farm? I don't even know if Jesse, you still with us, dear? Yep, she probably muted herself or walking around with the kid or something and listening. But, I know last year she was so excited because she was going to be able to go work with a farmer part-time to start learning some of this. And then we got Jose jumped in there, which was great. He started to pick up. Now he's doing all his yard and getting that prepped and ready. So we don't expect much the first year, and you don't have to go as crazy as I did. Many people don't have the time, or may not even have the room, but you can grow something. We've talked multiple times here over the years on how to do growing in baskets and 5-gallon pails, you name it. Yeah, we have talked about it. Yeah, there you go. Ed, he takes his scraps from his cutting in the yard and he feeds it to the chickens. And like I said, chickens will eat bad at anything. And that's what I'm, next year I hope to have some chickens here on my place for the eggs. Not to eat the chickens, just for the eggs. I don't have a large area of room to be trying and getting. I got so much on my plate now with as big of a garden as I'm growing to try to get into farming to eat. Just farm to have the fresh eggs and have them work for me. They'll eat all my waste, grass clippings like you're talking about, waste from the garden, any of the greenery. They'll eat all that. Oh, thank you, Deetra. I didn't even realize you were listed. There we go. I just saw you in the chat. Thank you, dear. Appreciate that. She's going to hook me up when the time comes and we're ready for the chicken. So, boy, I got that covered already. So, thank you, dear. I really appreciate that. So, yeah, there's a lot of exciting things coming up in the future. And I'm very excited, as you can tell. I can't wait. Yeah, like I said, when I jump in with both feet. I'm just going crazy with this. And the best thing about it is I'm learning everything, because I don't know it. So I don't have any bad mistakes or bad habits to correct. And that's why I'm so easy to learn. And that's why I get so excited, because one, it is new for the most part. And two, I got the best teacher in the world available to me. On Skype or, all the time. So anytime I got a problem, before I do anything, even when I got an off-the-wall crazy idea, I sit there before I do anything, and I just get in that Skype, say, okay, Ed, this is what I'm doing. And he'll just shake his head and say, you're friggin' crazy. No, that's not what you do. And then he'll correct me and say, this is how you do this. I'm like, oh, okay. So I have that advantage. Oh, excuse me. So I have that great advantage of access to him, and it's a godsend all the way. I can't thank him and his family enough for putting up with me. I'm laughing at the chat, but yeah, it's been an exciting journey. I don't know anybody else, but I'm already getting a little hoarse there. It's past the top of the hour there. What do you say we take a quick break here? Let's play a song. We lost Jose. I saw him go down. He had a little bit of trouble. I see Jesse is still with us, which is good. I'm not sure if she's on hold or what it is, but I'm going to mute everybody's mic here.
I'm here. I'm alive. I promise.
Well, I figured you were in there somewhere, kiddo. Oh, boy. Man. Are you enjoying tonight, Jess?
Yes.
Good. I'm glad. Whatever happened, I had asked you a question earlier, but I lost you. Whatever happened with that farmer you made contact with not that long ago? And said he was going to start teaching you stuff, and you're going to be able to start putting some time on the farm. Or is that because you got your full-time job and stuff now, you just haven't been able to get there?
Well, actually, his wife goes to my church, so I go through her. I talk to her, and they don't have anything ready for me yet. I keep in touch with them at least once a week or so that's, not too bad. Not to mention the fact that my boyfriend goes out there quite a bit, so he also keeps in touch with them for me too. So it's not like I haven't, it's just they don't have anything for me right now, but when they do, she's going to go ahead and let me know.
Oh, fantastic. See, that's what it's all about, just reaching out there and see what's going on in your area. If you don't have the room but you want to learn about this, or you do have the room and you want to learn about it, shoot us an email or get here in the chat room and ask your questions. And if Ed is with us, that's great. If not, I will write down those questions and get them over to him so we can get them answered for the next week's show for you. So yeah, definitely do that. Well, let's get a kick back here. I'm going to play one of my favorite songs. From Jack Gladstone, of course, Who else? And I got to stop with the ums. I'm so excited, but I got like so many windows open. I'm reading all at the same time. My mouth is going. So yeah, let's take a breath and slow down here for a minute. We're going to play a song, When the Land Belonged to God. We are back. You have been listening to the Country Living Show this evening. Glad everyone's been able to join us. Just a little heads up there, Chris, I wanted to let you know I do have part 2 from last week's show for you because Ed was able to join us tonight. Of course, we skipped the broadcast of that. Maybe we'll get to it next week. If not, gladly send that over to you. I have your email, and I can upload that for you, Chris, for part 2 and part 3 of that show that LB and Geo did that we played part 1 of last week. Anyway. We're having a good time here in the chat room. If you're not joined us in the chat room, you're missing out. Got a great group there. Everybody is so friendly, and everybody's learning together, and that's what it's all about. We come together each and every week. We'll be coming together here as a community, and you are part of that community. You guys, your mics are live. We're busting chops in there. John started about just don't play a song about tomatoes. So, of course, I've made it my personal goal that sometime this week I will find a song out there just about tomatoes for next week, just to bust his chops. If not, I'll have to write one. It may only be about a 8-word song and, a 10-second skit, but I'll come up something. And a pepper. Okay, tomato and a pepper. Okay, you got a song about tomatoes and peppers now. Hey, crazy stuff tonight. But it's all great, and it's all in good fun. A lot of people, I was talking in the chat, I'm not sure if I mentioned it on air. John was on about how, I think it was John, brought up about the fried green tomatoes, and somebody else about how they'll eat tomatoes, but they don't like raw tomatoes, but they'll eat like ketchup and tomato sauce and things like that. My wife is the exact same way. She'll take it out of her salad. She doesn't like diced tomatoes, like in a salad or on anything, But yet at the same time, she eats pizza. She eats spaghetti sauce. If it's cooked, maybe she'll cook with it. She loves making like stewed pork chops and stuff with tomatoes. But it's just that idea of the raw tomato. But give yourself a chance. Check out the little green tomatoes when you grow them yourself. Fry up that green tomato. Take that raw tomato. It is a fruit, folks. A lot of people, for some reason, forget that. It's a fruit, just like you would eat an apple. Pick it from the vine and take a big bite. It's juicy, delicious, and it's nothing like you're going to find in the store. All the flavor is there. Everything is so much is lost when you buy anything at the store, no matter what food product it is. It just loses so much of its nutrients, of its flavor, and it just tastes like blah, to put it nicely. But when you sit there and you get a chance to grow your own and watch it grow, give it a shot. Give yourself another chance. You never know. You may actually like tomatoes. You guys take it away for a minute. I got to say goodnight to my little one here.
Yeah. Well, Molo and Lave did put down that, a man with knowledge knows a tomato is a fruit. A wise man knows not to put it into fruit salad. I thought that was really cute.
That's it, baby. We love you.
And John says, a wise man knows not to put the tomato in his mouth. So I just had to say, a hungry man eats it with salt. And that's where the pepper part of it came in. Salt and pepper on tomato. The breading that my wife uses when she fries green tomatoes, it's like a cornbread type breading. I've never actually stopped and watched her do the cooking part of it, but I know it's got cornbread in it, and I think it has eggs and maybe a couple other things. But if you can find a cornbreading type of recipe, for like sometimes people like chicken and cornbread type of I don't even know what the word is. I don't cook much. Yeah, cornmeal. There you go, cornmeal type of covering on your meats. Do the same thing for the fried green tomatoes. They're wonderful. They really are. I don't eat them much. I'm not used to them. I didn't grow up on those. Like I said, I grew up on fried cucumbers. And it was, a delicacy that we had every now and then. It wasn't anything that we did on a regular basis. It was just, oh, why don't you go find us a couple of cucumbers, we'll fry them up for dinner or something. And that's how we lived. But how I learned gardening is pretty much beyond me, other than my mom and my aunts taught me about it. But I've also noticed that the men in my family didn't really get into doing the gardening thing. They're not really farmers. The men are ranchers, and the women are the ones that tended to the gardens and are around the house and stuff like that. How I ended up knowing about gardening? I guess maybe I used to hang out with the women. I don't know, but
hey, nothing wrong with that.
But yeah, I learned a little bit about it. I learned some of the tricks, planting this and planting that, but nothing like that book that you have. But yeah, that's a wonderful encyclopedia for you to have. You'll probably never make it all the way through the entire book, Doc.
Oh, I know. Oh, I read through it. I mean, I went through each section, and I was going through. I got the first time I come home, I sat there and must sat there for about 3-4 hours. Yeah, well, I mean, to really sit down and read it word for word, going for cover, never. Yeah, it's just not going to happen. And again, it's something I have to thank Ed for, because he's the one who brought it up to me. So I was at the store because I didn't order it. I was going to order it online. I had it bookmarked. I just never got back to it, which is a bad habit of me. I do a lot of bookmarking. When people tell me about something, I look it up right away. I bookmark it, so boom, I can get back to it. I just get so distracted and 800 other things, I forget to get back to it. And I was walking around, and I was picking up another book at Barnes & Noble there, and I was like, getting ready to check out, walk up to it, and I was like, oh, shoot, let me see if they got that book. So, yeah, of course, I ran right back over to the customer service lady so she can look it up for me. And sure enough, she goes, yep, we have it. It's in stock. It showed me right where it was. And, of course, I went and got my copy of the 35th anniversary edition of the Encyclopedia of Country Living. It's its 10th edition. It's from Carla Emery. She's the author. And it's a must-have for anyone, whether you're just starting out or you're an old-timer at this. Just on the cover, it's the original manual for living off the land and doing it yourself. Just an example of some of the things that are in here. Again, Ed, thank you very, very much. I believe they got it as a wedding gift, or a first wedding anniversary. I believe him and his wife got their copy from somebody else. And it's a great, great idea. And if I ever do go to anyone else's wedding or anything like that, I will definitely be bringing them a copy of this book as well. And it covers literally everything. Just on the cover, it's telling you how to find and buy your plot of land, all right, the site and build of a house or cabin, create vegetable garden, well, I can't even speak, log your land, manage a herd of cattle, raise chickens, goats, and pigs, mill your own flour, bake your own bread, sharpen an axe and all of your knives, prune a tree, harvest wood, canning, dry, and preserving food, drive a tractor, treat your family with homemade remedies, and learn basic beekeeping, and light your table with candles you made. It literally has everything you could possibly do. I was glancing through it. It tells you about how to make your own clothes, how to wash your own clothes, the different tricks of the trade. This is all based around off-grid living. Many of you will be familiar with that particular phrase. But how to make soap is in there. It's just the list goes on and on and on. And each section has a whole, right underneath it has a whole section of recommended websites and companies to deal with, that they trust from all these years that they've been dealing with. It's all there with phone numbers, web addresses, names of companies, if you need certain things, where you can find certain things. Of course, you ain't going to, a lot of stuff, it's not like you can go to your Walmart and pick any of this stuff up, folks. But the companies, they're still out there. They're still making this stuff. They're still making the old wash tubs and whatnot. You just got to know where to get them. And this book is, it has it all. It's got recipes in each section. So when you go to the vegetable section, you'll say, all right, well, on this particular vegetable, and it gives you a couple of recipes, how to make bread. It's just the list is too enormous to ever try to mention. And it's something that you will turn to when you start gardening on a regular basis. So if you don't have that contact like I do with Ed to tap into on Skype every day and bug him, and I have a question, I know I can just pick up that book and whoop, go right to that section and say, okay, this is how you do this. This is how you cut down a particular product, whether it's your peppers, tomatoes, whatever it may be, in the process for harvesting those seeds, okay, and how to preserve those seeds and the best way to store them for planting the next year, and so on and so forth. There is just so much in that book. It is literally. I paid $30 for it because I bought it directly from the bookstore. It's actually a little bit cheaper than that on Amazon. And if it's the best $30 I ever spent in my life. So it's can't say enough about that. How you guys finding finding a new site? John's with us tonight. There, Diatra's joined us. Several people are in the chat room with us. Was everything easy to get to? The links are all working.
Well, I haven't signed in to the new site, so I'm basically, I don't trust my computer right now, so I'm just kind of keeping everything light on my end. Like I said, it shut itself down. I was talking to you about the little bands that you make, and I was going to say you can either paper clip them together or rubber band them or tape them and then remove them later, and you store them for next year. So I haven't quite, I know what the front page looks like on the site. I think it's wonderful. I like it. It's very attractive. Very high speed. Absolutely very high speed. Now on to what you were saying about the book that you bought. It's a great book to have, yes. It does teach you a lot of things you need to know. I wanted to ask you, does it have a full almanac in it anywhere?
No, Ed. I would have to look in the index to find out. I really don't know. Ed's a lot more familiar. He's had the book for 23, 24 years now, whatever it's been, that he's had it. So I actually would have to go through. I don't know it has an actual almanac in it. I don't think it had an actual almanac. And referring to what? Like the Farmer's Almanac with the weather patterns and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's actually in here.
Because everything runs on pretty much a lunar cycle, and if you're going to start taking care of animals, you need to know when you can, and I hate to say it this way, but you got to cull the herd at some point, so you got to know, what is the best time to cut an animal and when is a good time to butcher them so that you get less loss of flavor and all kinds of stuff like that. And if you don't know, you definitely got to have the almanac. Also, that kind of ties into the planting as far as farming is concerned, because there is a certain time of year, and it's because by my understanding is you don't want to go planting your crops when the moon is when there is no moon, because they don't, they won't produce as well. Something like that is one of the things that I was trying to get across.
Yeah, actually, yeah. You know what? To laugh, you talk about the moon, right? I said there, I laugh about it. Christy, Ed's wife, by the way, from down on the farm there, she swears by it. You know, she's the old hand at all this, you know, generations of this, and she plants everything by the full moon, you know, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thumbs up. And yeah, the almanac they get every year. It's something they get yearly, once a year. They'll get the new almanac, but no, it's not in this particular book. This book's got everything else in it you could think of and ever want and to need for anything, but no, it doesn't have the almanac itself. I do have a couple more announcements though, just so everybody knows. This whole new program and whole new format here for Freedom Reigns. There's so much exciting things coming up. You can sign up. You're going to be able to have different forums. You're going to be able to invite others. There's going to be private messaging. There's a whole bunch of things that are coming out that we're bringing together. There's going to be a whole interactive media section. If you guys have any planting that you're doing on your own, you're just starting out, take pictures. We're going to have a community section set up where everybody can upload their pictures and show off what they're doing. Hey, this is what we're doing. There's a swap shop that's going to be putting together. It's going to allow everybody to swap and trade with each other. It's like we were talking about, like the seeds earlier. I get those peppers to grow. Boom, I'll ship those those peppers right out to you. So there's a lot of fun and exciting things coming up. You know, it's going to take a little while to get it all worked out, but little by little, it's definitely coming together. And we have, all of you to thank for it, of course, because, you make this show possible. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be here. And, of course, John for putting this all together for us and doing such a wonderful job at it. We're only scratching the surface of what you see today. This is still, what we call our beta version of the site, and there's so much more to come with the forums and the community stuff. I'll be taking I already have a bunch of pictures on my phone. Of course, my phone's dead now. I got to charge my phone up. I've been taking pictures all along, but they're all on my phone. Now, I could build a computer blindfolded, but don't ask me how in the hell do I plug the wire from my computer or what wire attaches from my computer to my damn cell phone so I can download the picture. I can build a computer blindfolded, but don't ask me to hook up a damn telephone to it so I can a cell phone to it so I can get the pictures off it. So I have to wait on that because that's the wife. She knows what to do there. So I know there's a wire somewhere that came with my phone. I have no idea where it's at. I'm sure she does, and you'll be able to take care of it. Just plug this in here, plug this to your USB, and transfer your photos. Duh. It's probably a real easy thing, but it's one of those things that, hey, I've never done it, In about a week or so, we'll show how to cut feed bills to almost nothing, also with pics and easy-to-follow instructions feed. That's Deatra. She's, her and Lawrence, of course, will be doing shows here. If you haven't caught one of theirs, Lawrence on the Regal system. And Deatra's bringing forth all this great new information and how they're handling their farm because they have so much livestock. I have no livestock yet, but by this time next year, we will. I'm hoping. Keep my fingers crossed. You will not send pictures of a 2-pound tomato. Well, no, the picture I want to see, Ed, is the one. I think you were saying you got the 8. Yeah, we talk about tomatoes, right? We've all seen the tomato plants. Yeah, biggest one I ever seen, probably about 3.5, 4 feet tall, whatever. Yeah, you get these tomatoes and stuff on there. And Ed was telling me about the one year they actually have like an 8-foot high tree, a tomato plant. That they actually had to use a step ladder. His wife was using a step ladder to actually be able to harvest the tomatoes from. Talk about a big-ass freaking tomato plant, huh? But that's when you know you're doing something right, and that also comes with generations upon generations. I mean, Christy just lives, eats, and breeds tomatoes. It's 10 foot high this year. Oh, my God. That's what we need pictures of. That's literally amazing. But like I said, that's not something the everyday person is ever going to be able to do. This comes with years upon years of generations upon generations of working and dealing with tomatoes. Like I said, I never knew there was 140, 150 kinds of breeds of tomatoes and all these different things. And I wasn't kidding you when I told you that Ed and Christy there, they can they could talk and do shows for an entire year just on tomatoes. Everything from how to pollinate them, how to sex them, and how to make your own your own heirloom seeds. It's just amazing the amount of information that they have that they're willing to share with us. We're trying to get Christy. There. I believe she's actually going to write a book soon. I can't wait to get that. I want to be the first one off I want an autographed copy, Christy. Ed, if she's listening, tell her. If she's not listening, make sure you tell her. I want one of the first copies off the press there with autographed, of course. But I'm very excited and waiting for that. I think they're also this year of course, correct me, I don't think this year or next year, there's plans in the work. They'll be releasing their own heirloom seeds. So that's something I can't wait to find out about. Hey, keep me in mind. Remember, dang it. I still have a little bit of lawn left. Not much, but I have a little bit of lawn left. I can plant something else. I always got room for anything anybody wants to send me.
There you go.
I'm willing to buy. I'll buy it. I swear, I'll buy it.
Okra.
Yeah, he brought that up before. I already wrote that down on my list. I was going down on my list. Now I got okra. Of course, I don't know. I got a whole list of herbs and spices that Ed brought me. Now I really want to learn pickling because we love pickling. We got a friend of ours that pickles everything from tomatoes to cucumbers to peppers, you name it. Pickles everything. Everything is literally fantastic. He makes a whole bunch of different ones. Different kinds. So, of course, Ed right away got in with Ed. Ed, I don't know anything about squat, and he knows that, But I'm doing, want to do an herb garden. Sure enough, Ed shot me a list. Said, all right, you need this, and this, and a lot of dill if you're doing the pickling. I'm like, okay. So, this is why I got this herb garden all set and ready to be planted. 6 foot wide and 30-some odd feet long. Okay. This year she's focusing on Christy's focusing on the canning classes. So if you're in the Georgia area, actually, look them up down on the farm. I'm not sure if she's where she's doing it at yet. We'll have to get Ed to get us some information on that, and we can let you guys all know on the air when she's holding her classes. If there's any. If it's done on the farm, if it's done in a community building, if there's a charge for the classes or whatever, we can get all that information. Find out, it's free. There you go. Can't beat that, right, folks? You got to love when that happens. Sharing with the community and teaching everyone to be independent. Everybody talks about freedom, and you can be as free as a bird. You can have all the process done, and you can be, lawfully free. But even with all that paperwork, the bottom line, folks, if you can't feed yourself, you're never going to be free. Keep that in mind. With that, so that was such a nice lead-in, actually. Not to cut you off there, Jose. We're going to play another song just because I want to. We'll be right back. We're going to play one of Ed's favorites as he's here with us, joining us this evening. He introduced me to this song a few months ago, and I listened to it once. I right away, of course, had to download it and get my copy and listen to it several more times. It speaks for itself a hell of a lot more than ever I could in a 4-minute song, and it is I'll Grow My Own. We'll be right back. You haven't had a chance, to look that song up. I've never heard that song before. It's fairly new. Go ahead and head on over there to YouTube and do a quick search. You can't miss it. Fantastic video. Go ahead and download and get yourself that album. But, that song definitely speaks volumes. Like I said, it covers so much information, and it hits the nail on the head every time I hear it. There's nothing that I could add to it, in other words. Everybody's mic is now live. I'm sorry, just bouncing around in different chats. Let's see. I know it's corrected. I was talking about combining, the two different kind of plants that go together and work well together, like the three sisters and the melons and the cucumbers, and it's actually called companion plants. That's the word I was looking for. I said I was close. At least it starts with a C. So I love having Ed with me. He keeps me on my toes, and I keep his brain rolling too. Keeps him thinking. Still checking a bunch of things and reading chats, and I got so much exciting stuff happening on today. Jesse, you still with us? Yeah, there. Everybody's real quiet tonight. I guess everybody's absorbing all the material. We're all reading the chats and the information Ed's been giving us, and I'm trying to bring it to you guys here on the air, and so you have it in the archives.
Well, I'm just sitting here listening. Yeah, I'm enjoying the conversation. It's been a couple of weeks since I've actually gotten the opportunity to both talk and listen. So you go ahead and talk. I'm enjoying this.
Oh, sure. Just put it all on me. Okay. I think I can do that job.
Well, I really don't have much to say. Pretty much that book that you mentioned, that you couple it with the almanac and knowing when to plant, like I said, knowing when to cut an animal. By cut, I mean the males. And knowing when to slaughter your animals. That pretty much covers a good 80-90% of what you need to know in life. About the only thing that I'm possibly thinking you might be missing is trapping, how to turn fur into leather. And
Actually, I believe I read some of that. Yep. Let's see. Oh, that's Tap a Maple Tree. I'm just looking on the back cover because there's more things. There's just so much in this book. But I think I read somewhere in there on one of the pages about trapping, how to make a stair trap and things like that.
Yeah.
And it may actually be in the book. I only looked quickly down the back cover. I didn't go through the whole index. But I believe when I was glancing through, I saw something about that. When I was talking about the seeds earlier, Ed helped us out here, and it's this year we'll have the UGA certified, a tomato we have been growing for 15 years, true heirloom, like the Mortgage Buster tomato grown just up the street from his farm. And the reason the gentleman named it the Mortgage Buster for a tomato, when he let that tomato go and opened it to the market and all, it actually paid off his mortgage. So that's why it was called the Mortgage Buster. But, so this year they'll have their certification, UGA certified tomato, and they have been growing now for 15 years. Like I said, folks, when it comes to tomatoes, you're not going to get a better source than Ed in that chat room right now. Pick their brains. Ed and Christy, man, they are phenomenal. And I'm so excited and looking forward to all the stuff that they got going on. Of course, I'm going to be first in line. Anything that comes out, I'm first in line, I'll be all over that for sure. What is the biggest natural remedy for ticks? There's several on the net. Tried several, but none have worked. Let's see. Ed's response: in your yard, borax soap. 7 Mule. Oh, yeah, I remember that. The 7 Mule borax team. That's all my grandparents ever used. Never thought about it for ticks. I got a doggy, and luckily I don't have a tick problem. I just got to worry about fleas every once in a while. We got all sand. But now that I got too much lawn left or anything, I'm not really worried about my sand fleas either. I'm gardening. I don't think my sand fleas are going to be around much longer, to be honest with you, because they're going to stay with the sand. So
it should work on the fleas too, shouldn't it? Maybe. I don't know. I never had a problem with ticks.
Yeah, I never either, but I don't have any woods around me and deers to worry about. And yes, Ed does say fleas as well. Use it on the fleas too. So There you go. Yeah, that good old borax soap, that 7 Mule Team borax, that stuff's still available. That stuff's been out since the 1800s, I think. Just a guess. I mean, it's just as long as I can remember, many generations. That particular product has been around, and they used it for everything. From cleaning your clothes to what we're learning today. Natural remedy for ticks and fleas to control in your yard.
Well,
and just so much more, yeah.
One of the things that I can say is that, when it comes to keeping pests away from the yard, you go get yourself a box of, it's going to be a really big box of mothballs, and spread them around your fence line areas. Just walk through and kind of toss them out. Like if you was throwing, Johnny Appleseed type seeds, just out there throwing. And it will repel snakes. And it kind of gets rid of some of the mice. Skunks don't like them too much. There's a couple of other animals. I don't remember exactly which ones they were. I think rats don't really like them at all. But it gets rid of, some of the pests. Not all of them. You're still going to have some pests, like rabbits. They will get into your gardens. One way or the other. Those guys they're everywhere. But as far as everything else, the dangerous things like snakes, yeah, definitely mothballs. A lot of them. Just buy yourself a couple of big boxes and just go spread them around your fence line, around the base of your buildings that you might see, an opening where a snake can get in or something like that. Yeah, throw some in there. 3 or 4 inside of a little hole. Just leave it. Forget it. It'll definitely drive out those bad animals.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've been using that around my house for years because we have a lot of field mice and stuff like that. And, they'll find their way in the house in the wintertime. Cold weather, they'll always find their way in the house. And I just put mothballs, drop them down behind the dryer and the wash machine. I put them in a couple of the drawers. Just drop them in the closet. Just drop them everywhere, and never have a problem. You don't have to worry about any kind of critters coming in as far as that goes. And that's great. Same thing with your garden. But, they do dissolve down and disappear after a time. So every couple of months you have to, drop a couple more back there. But, yeah, I always keep a box of those mothballs around. They work great. They're talking about ticks in the chat room. We want to share with you some more information there because Deatra's concern was, the ticks and stuff getting on the kids. And she also mentioned that for the ants, cinnamon works best as a repellent for the ants. What I do down here with our ants, we actually feed them grits. We just feed them grits, and what it is, they'll take the grits back to the hive, they'll eat them grits, and that'll swell up in their stomach, and pop, they're dead. Wipes out the nest in a couple of days. So even if you got a big, huge nest, fire ants or anything, just sprinkle, go out there every day, as long as it ain't wet. Make sure it ain't wet and raining. But you go out there and, just sprinkle some grits right on the anthill, and, within a couple of days, they'll wipe it right out. It's gone. Colonies disappear totally.
Wow.
Ed was telling us in chat that for when it gets on the kids, with the ticks and all on kids, to take put a little bit of liquid soap on a cotton ball and then put it on the tick, and it will suffocate and release and just fall right off. So you don't have to worry about pulling it or hurting the kids or anything. So that's great. Thank you. See, I'll tell you, folks, you're going to learn so much. You miss out so much if you can't get the direct conversation by joining us here on the chat and throughout the new site here. There's so much exciting things coming up. Please take pictures, send them to us. We'll get them up there and upload it. There's going to be all kinds of community projects going on and listed on the website now. A lot of interaction that's going to take place. We're going to be able to trade and all kinds of seeds and goodies and information back and forth. The whole focus is going to be community and how we can help each other. Times are hard out there, folks. Food prices, mentioned earlier, through the roof, sticker shock. You got to get growing. Get growing something. Yeah, and it doesn't matter if you're in a small little one-bedroom apartment. You could still grow some food. There's so much you can grow in a 5-gallon pail. Instead of growing flowers and pretty flowers to make your house smell good, start growing food. Grow tomatoes, grow peppers. You can grow anything. You can even do potatoes. Maybe not a whole bunch, but you can even do potatoes in a 5-gallon pail. I don't know. Never tried it, but I know I've heard it can be done. Let's put it that way. But pretty much anything you can think of, if you can get yourself a pail, a bucket of something, you can grow. And then you'll have that food, and that be smelling beautifully throughout your house, especially when you cook with that fresh product and you have people over. They don't take up much room, a little bit of room in the on your balcony, wherever they can get sunlight. Even if you're in a condo or an apartment, you got plenty of balcony room there. 3, 4, 5 buckets, and you can just go crazy. There's so many things you can actually grow that way. It's only benefits yourself, health-wise, all the way around. You're gonna, take all that out of your budget. You'll no longer be buying those products, and the products you buy, remember, that's all commercial junk, folks. Half of its minerals and vitamins or anything that it would have done good for the body has been wiped out through the process. It's just gone. It's non-beneficial, and you wonder why we have such an obesity problem here in the Union. It really just has to do with the type of food that we're consuming. We're not eating and getting the full benefits of the product. We're not absorbing and getting those vitamins and minerals and enrichments, and the list just goes on and on and on. Yep. Everybody's been fighting, no matter where you're at in the Union, everybody's been fighting some really crazy weather patterns. So it's a definite to, if you're growing in buckets is real easy. The storm's coming or you're not going to be home. Pull those plants inside, close your balcony door. Makes it real easy for you. For those of us that got crops, if you got a yard and you're growing a garden and whatnot, really keep an eye on your weather. Look at what's going on.
Speaking of which, Doc, I wanted to make a comment to you about your garden. If you can find some, say, 8-foot 4x4 poles, for that really rough weather that sometimes comes in, as it's coming in, before, because you're going to know that it's coming in, before it actually gets to where, if you have these poles planted in your corners and maybe a couple in the very center, you can always put up tarps, Maybe the tarps will get torn to shreds, but it will save the majority of your plants from taking a beating from the wind. And you know what I'm talking about by that, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we get down here in Florida. That's one thing we have. We get lots of winds. Even if the hurricanes don't come to us much anymore and they go, up through the Gulf or shoot up the north and whatnot, we still get the winds. And I get winds daily because I got lakes all around me. I'm dead center. I don't get it's funny thing. We're almost out of time. I only got 5 minutes left, and we still have tons and tons of information to cover. It was said to talk to them about the country cooking lessons. Yes, there are recipes and stuff in that book, but I get private lessons. I'll tell you, folks, you don't understand. I laugh about it because you just don't understand the amount of hours upon hours upon hours that this gentleman has given up to spend time with me. Everything from sharing family recipes, how to cook different meals. We made a meal the other day. He's telling me about this chicken pot stew kind of deal, and I was like, well, yeah, we make stews and soups and stuff like that. So he gives me this recipe. Well, of course, he's talking about this recipe supposed to feed, like 8 people or something. I'm like, well, I got 3 teenagers, so I'm going to double this recipe. So I pulled out my big, huge pasta pot. Thing is humongous. It takes up half my stove. That's how big it is. And I said, I'd double in this recipe. And I went and made that. And I'll tell you what, good thing I did double the recipe. Because by the time dinner was done that night, and I used, the recipe calls for, I think it was 1.5 pounds of chicken head. And I said double and beef ribs. No, I doubled everything. But the chicken, I had 8 pounds of thighs. And a package of 8 pounds of chicken thighs that were defrosted. I put all 8 pounds of chicken into this stew. Folks, I tell you, we chowed down. And you want to talk about leftovers? There wasn't as much as you might think. I gave a little bowl, Tupperware container full, to my mom. She's had that. She loved it. Can't wait for the next meal that I make. So keep those recipes coming, Ed. You're turning me into the local chef here. And the large Tupperware container is all that was left. Okay, now it's not a jumbo. It's probably about a 6-inch by 6-inch square container, probably about 4 inches, 4 inches deep. Probably good 4 inches deep, I guess. Tupperware container, and I'll tell you, it didn't even fill that up. That's all that was left over. And like I said, we put 8 pounds of chicken in this thing. We chowed down. And the next day, of course, me and Nikki had some for lunch. And a little snack later on. Needless to say, it didn't go too far. It never made it to a second meal. First night we did it over rice. The second meal, we were going to do it a couple of days later. We were going to do it and put it over pasta, like over some noodles or something. Yeah, we don't have enough left over, Ed, to make a second meal out of it. It was that good. Thank you so much. Any final words? Man, the time is flown. We're down to just over 2 minutes, folks.
If you need a tarp, run down to your local place that sells big lumber, 2x4s, 4x8s, and that kind of stuff. And they have these tarps that the load has to be wrapped so it doesn't get wet or whatever. Go down there, ask them for the tarps. They'll give them to you free. Turn them inside out, and they're brown on one side. They'll be white on the other, usually. Turn them inside out. You don't need to advertise for anybody else. And they're huge. I have one downstairs that's 16 by 12.
There you go.
They're free. And they're free. They work just as good as the ones you spend money on.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. We can't thank you enough, everybody, for joining us this evening. Ed, thank you, brother, as always. Love you. We miss you. You truly are missed when you can't make the shows and the chat rooms and stuff. But at least I never miss you. I got you in Skype. But always great to have everyone here. Deatra, I'm glad you're feeling much better from your incident. Lots of exciting things happening. John, keep up the great work. Everybody, please check back at the site quite often as these updates are getting done. Lots of exciting things coming our way here at Freedom Reigns. And the new site, actually, Spring into Action. Lots of love. God bless everyone. Keep those crops growing. Be safe. And we will see you back here next week. Special announcement. We got just about a minute left. Keep an eye on the schedule. Good possibility. We might be coming back at you Sunday afternoon sometime. Never know what's going to happen around here on schedule. So keep your eyes open. Check in frequently when you can. And until next time, good night, everyone. Bye-bye.